For joining and taking the time with us today. Where are you located?
So we're right downtown in Columbus, Ohio.
Cool. I saw the city background there, so I was wondering if you were in a downtown spot somewhere.
Yeah, we are just a block from the State House, actually, here, right truly in the heart of the state.
So we're going to start out and have you introduce yourself and your role at your company and the name of your company and everything.
Okay, so I'm Dustin Leggans. I'm the founder and CEO of OSA Technology Partners, headquartered here in Columbus, Ohio. We are a managed service provider and a software development company. So we have a variety of solutions engineers and systems engineers on the team. And so day to day, I'm involved with a little bit of everything.
Can you tell us a little bit about OSA Technology Partners and how it might differ from a traditional MSP?
Sure. So we got into the MSP business intentionally, but certainly not by a traditional path. Over the years, we've worked alongside a lot of different IT teams, both internal and external, service providers, and honestly, saw a lot of things that we didn't like, saw a lot of frustrations that our customers had up front, and eventually we got to the point where we decided enough was enough and that we thought we could do things better. So we started doing sort of the research and the homework to get into it. And actually, when we found JumpCloud, that was one of the things that kind of put us over the edge in terms of feeling like we had a solid foundation to build from. We didn't want to, reinvent the wheel, and we definitely didn't want to, dive headfirst into these very complex enterprise solutions. We needed something to be able to step into with our customers and prove our way as we went. So JumpCloud was one of those pieces for me that I said, okay, we can do this and let's give it a go. So that was about going on 3 years ago now.
Very cool. What's the typical type of customer that you serve?
Our pretty diverse set of customers. There's no one industry that we serve other than we can pretty safely say B2B type situation. So we don't do much in terms of consumer products or retail products. We have a lot of the nuts and bolts businesses that are out there making the world run every day. We work quite a bit with internal IT teams. So we are either supporting them from a strategic standpoint or staff augmentation and overflow work. And then a lot of just relationship based thing. We do a good job over here, and then that person maybe moves on to another role, and they often call us up once they're settled in. So we have a lot of our customer relationships are ones that we've had for many years, and we flex in and out of different roles for them depending on what's going on in the marketplace or what their budget season and appetite is. And so we're just really centered on the solutioning aspects. There's no one size fits all for us.
Right. Could you talk a little bit about how JumpCloud integrates with other technologies and helps you deliver solutions to your customers?
So the first thing about JumpCloud in terms of how it integrates is we use it ourselves. And for me, when I was looking into this MSP space and really taking on, from a cybersecurity standpoint, taking on the responsibility of managing that for our customers, the first concern that I had was, how do I manage that for us so that we're able to add staff, we have a pretty strong internship program and training and development. We're not all seasoned senior level engineers. And so basically, how do I put some padding up so that we can make mistakes, we can learn without obviously jeopardizing any of our customers? So for me, JumpCloud, our initial experiences were in using it to secure our own single sign-on applications, our own, obviously, identity and mobile device management for our systems, and then looking at some custom implementations and how it hooks into our help desk system and our ticketing system, and again, creating the bumpers that we needed for the organization to be able to grow safely and securely. I don't
Are
think I
you?
answered the entire question. It was all about how
It
we're
was a
using it for solutions.
Yeah, integrate with other technologies and deliver solutions to your customers. But I think,
Yeah, I mean,
the fact that you're using it internally to then help you deliver solutions, and you're trying it out on yourself first. I think that's part of it.
yeah, definitely eat, what do they say? Eating your own dog food. In terms of how we use it for our customers, it's pretty much the full platform. We haven't quite gotten anyone to a full directory, moving away from some of the name brand directories to a full JumpCloud directory, and we're still supporting Microsoft and Google on top of or underneath in terms of the cloud directory, but we're pretty close with a couple of customers. I think there's a lot of opportunity there to get away from the legacy or the incumbent providers there in the sense and have a more flexible directory setup. We have MDM going on both Windows and Mac. We use it for Linux servers and operating systems. Certainly all the policy management, sign on, pretty much everything. We're right there using it.
That's great. You answered my next couple of questions about whether you use Mac, Windows, or Linux, and are you using system controls like policies and commands. So you're already ahead of the curve. So that's great. I think you even answered a little bit of this when you talked about your company, about your typical client, or in general, what kind of problems you're trying to solve. You talked about augmenting IT teams. Are there any other things that people are asking you to solve in particular?
Yeah, we have a balance of our customers who know what they're asking for, and often we're supporting their internal teams. And then we have a handful of customers that they don't know and don't care, don't want to know. And so again, that the whole confidence for us to be able to roll a solution out that we know how it works, we know that it works, we can um, back up what we say when we say, oh yeah, don't worry about it, we'll take care of it. So whether that's setting up some sort of custom authentication, some SAML authentication for an internal app, centralizing user and group management for things like everything from security groups to file folder permissions, it's not always, and I should say, our conversations are rarely about budget or about like we're looking at this or this and which one's cheaper or which one's better. So it's not, we don't get into too many sort of feature parity conversations, which is nice. Not that we couldn't, but it's usually solution first, or I guess we should say it's usually challenge first. And then the assumption is we're going to fill in the appropriate solution. So we have our customers give us a lot of latitude, and one of the things that we love about JumpCloud is that it's not just a square box that you have to fill up. You can do a lot, and you can be pretty creative in the way that you solution and architect things. That's proved to be very useful for us, and it allows us to really live by some of the values that we talk about in terms of being agile and curious and determined to get a solution through no matter what. So we don't have a lot of situations where we have to say no, which obviously everybody likes that when it's trying to solve a problem. So it makes us really efficient, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Have you found your clients, are most of them remote work, or are any of them kind of hybrid or on-prem? And does it help having Jump Cloud in these environments that maybe don't require a lot of on-prem infrastructure?
Yeah, again, it's a mix of both. We have a couple of customers who have pretty much maintained a on-prem office situation. And so we've been able to use JumpCloud to help coax them into maybe a cloud transformation situation that we all talk about, showing them that the reality of getting away from legacy on-prem and in-office infrastructure, it really is possible. So that's been cool. We have customers that are using the radius authentication mechanism for their satellite offices and like truly leveraging the cloud to support their sort of on-prem infrastructure. And then we have customers who, yeah, are spread out all over the country. Users are mobile, both in terms of where they are in their homes, and then a lot of travel, international travel. So some of the reporting and the capabilities of JumpCloud from a systems monitoring standpoint have proven to be very helpful. It collects enough information to allow us to make intelligent, near real-time decisions. And yeah, I think that's enough about that.
Do you find that you're using zero trust to help with those situations, especially the ones that are traveling a lot and things like that? Do you find that zero trust helps with any of that? Or maybe they don't really need that right now? Or where are you in that?
The zero trust stuff is something that, from a technology standpoint, we're really interested in. And it's been something that our customers have. It's a hard thing to get your head around because it's either perceived as more hoops to jump through and speed bumps in terms of day to day, which is really just a training exercise, which in a hybrid or remote workforce world is really hard. It's hard to get people sitting down behind a Zoom to understand why they have to triple authenticate just to do a task. So that's where I'd say we have some zero trust solutions in place in terms of dynamic group membership and assignment and device access. It's pretty close to zero trust without them really knowing what's going on. The whole just in time access piece is something, even from a device authentication standpoint, like there's a lot of really good ideas there, but we have a hard time getting users to restart their machine still. So we got to get a couple of things in order before we're able to go to that level of sophistication.
Hmm. Do you use any policies to force people to restart or anything like that? Or do
We
you get pushback?
we get pushback, and the challenge there is really around the fact that these devices aren't connected all the time consistently. So it's one thing when we have desktops that are sitting there plugged in, but especially with laptops, folks just are moving fast, it's connected, close the laptop, disconnected. So it's not, the forced restart thing is not something that's been very well accepted. And I actually agree with the approach that we've taken because we're really trying to do education first. Why do you need to restart? Why is it important to learn about the good ways to use your workstation and the not so good ways to use your workstation? And plus, then it's always great when our help desk gets high fives and 5 stars, and all they really did was have someone restart the workstation. So we're okay with that being our little secret, that if they would just let us put these policies in place and force people to do it, they wouldn't have half the issues that they do have. But again, it's still helpful for us to have that touch point with the customers and the users, try to educate them on computer hygiene without just brute force turning stuff off. But we certainly do and will if we have to.
Right. You talked a little bit about that, a little bit. It's almost like change management, right? Like teaching people about the zero trust. Have you tried anything around JumpCloud Go yet and trying to get them to understand the benefits of the secure login and things like that?
I haven't tried it. It's on the list. I think that's interesting. It's the way I think about that. It's like we're actually in conversations right now with a customer talking about modernizing password policies, getting rid of simple multi-factor authentication, secret questions, and that kind of stuff. Even SMS obviously is something it's good to get away from. And then looking at device based, like the JumpCloud Authenticator app. And I think that's a logical progression to then start talking about something like JumpCloud Go. So again, it's great that the feature and the progress of JumpCloud has continued at the level that it was when we first started. And so we're always ready to talk about something more without introducing another platform. So
Yeah,
it's the gift that keeps on giving. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. The other thing I was going to ask you about for some of those companies that are hybrid or remote, have you introduced zero touch enrollment for new laptops and things like that, new devices for them? Have any of your clients done that?
Yeah, 100%. So we've turned some of our customers on to that exciting world. evergreen and use JumpCloud for that. And then we have some other customers where we can, we no longer sit around and complain about how slow Intune is or how some of those challenges. And we're able to say, you know what, let's use Intune to put JumpCloud on, and then let's take the rest out of that environment and we'll use JumpCloud commands and some of the tooling there to do it. Obviously, there's the native integrations with the Apple VPP stuff, and that's great. We found some success using, I'm forgetting the name of it, Auto PKG and some of the other package management programs to do that. I think there's some interesting stuff that you can do through just custom scripting with the PowerShell scripts and hooking into the Microsoft Store. And so I see a lot of opportunity for that to become a more fine-tunable option that is very responsive. And absolutely that light touch or zero touch piece has been something that we've seen a lot of, created some pretty good customer delight from that.
Great. Have you all been using system or directory insights with either internally or with your clients? And if so, what have you been using them for? Maybe what is your best success or use case with those?
Yeah, we do use system insights. Probably the biggest use case we have is so our sort of internal platform we call asset operating system. And we manage more than just users and devices. We talk about assets in terms of if you have a website, the assets that power that website might be like the SSL certificate, the server that it's running on, maybe the software license that's behind it. So when we think about telemetry data for assets, the cool thing is that JumpCloud basically gives us a portal to the asset information for a whole host of things. So whether that's user group permissions changes or assignment changes, things like disk space, something if a system's running low on disk space, installed applications, whatever it is, and we basically consume all that out of JumpCloud into our platform, and then we're able to either make SIEM decisions based on that, or then just from a monthly compliance standpoint, we can really pull that information in and tabulate it for the reporting that we have to do. I think that's an interesting area where I wonder what might be coming up next for JumpCloud in terms of alerts, triggers, and things. Basically, the agents do such a good job of collecting the information. I wonder if there's not going to be some more robust reporting capabilities or alert and trigger-based capabilities in the future.
We get asked a lot for improvements in that area. So one of our questions was about some of the ways you've rolled out JumpCloud and use cases. You don't have to name clients. Some of the interesting ways you've implemented JumpCloud, and I think that could be an interesting thing to go over if there have been any different ways you've
Yeah.
done.
So actually, before some of the zero trust capability, we had a pretty unique situation where we were using the JumpCloud agent for just-in-time access to a server farm, and then the logging and the sort of audit trail that was necessary for that. And that was it was almost like zero touching servers. It was an interesting deployment method. And just the ability to, it was through the way that it was integrated with 1Password. And so it was basically pulling down information in real time from 1Password vaults to be able to produce the access needed and point users in the right direction. So it was a little bit of security by obfuscation, the thing, just in terms of the hoops that were going on behind the scenes. But that was pretty cool to be able to do that with such a lightweight agent on those servers and have it be directory integrated in terms of the users. I'm trying to think of what else. I mentioned the auto PKG. So specifically for the Mac workstations, Apple Business Manager and the VPP, that stuff was all great. But some of our more nuanced Mac users just needed flexibility and the ability to do browser plugins and some of these other things that weren't in the App Store necessarily. So we were able to put together a pretty nice repository of a lot of PKG recipes, and then deploy those through the JumpCloud agent and some commands there. So that was a pretty hands-on building exercise for the team. I think everybody enjoyed figuring that out, and probably got some frustration from working through all the nuances of maintaining software packages by hand, because that's what that ends up being at some point.
Yeah. You reminded me when you said, talking about passwords. Do you have anyone that is using our password manager yet?
No, we don't. We're pretty far deep into 1Password in terms of our infrastructure and our customers. And we have a couple customers who are also using that. I don't know enough about the capabilities of your password manager. I know that it wouldn't do what we needed to do. I think not that our customers are so sophisticated necessarily. It's just that I think it's just for whatever reason, not something our customers have been interested in from a user standpoint. They're either like way into it or they're just not into it at all, because they already have it in my browser. Why do I need another tool? Which I don't agree with that, but it's just not a battle that I've been up for the challenge yet.
Oh, have they been using something like Keychain or something like that? Like they're on a Mac?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understood. If you're interested down the road, I can send you a couple of IT hours where we've had Himanshu, the PM for that, on, and he goes through like the basics of how it's structured, because it is structured differently than 1Password, and some of the new feature updates. I can send that to you later if you're interested. It's not no push. Not
Oh, that would be great. That would be great, actually. And I can't remember. I know I can't remember even the name of the one that it was acquired, right? That was how that came to be.
yeah.
We had looked at it initially, and then there's another one that for some reason Keeper keeps coming up with our customers, and we looked at that one for ourselves too. And of all the tools out there, I've used 1Password for a decade, so that's going to be a hard habit to break, if ever.
Yeah, totally understand, especially people that are reluctant they kind of resist change.
Right,
It's better to
right,
have them using something than nothing at all.
right. That's an area where I could probably go to school on a little bit to try to get our customers to use it. Because the one thing I will say about 1Password is their licensing model is terrible. It's just impossible to sell from a management standpoint for 5, 10, 15 users. If you don't have an enterprise level agreement, there's not much you can do there.
Do you have any clients that have used AD or Google as kind of an ad hoc directory, and have you migrated them to JumpCloud or anything along those lines?
Yeah, so we have a couple customers who are still doing the legacy AD to now and then into JumpCloud. We actually have a customer that's got AD, Intra ID, Okta, and JumpCloud. So they've got four horses in the race, and we're actively working to get rid of the on-prem AD. And then the logical conversation that's interesting to see is, why do we need Azure AD? You really don't. If we're doing all these things over here, I'm trying to think here. Probably the best example. We do have a couple customers running on Google Workspace, and the ability to manage those user permissions, which I think is a more recent thing for Google specifically, that's been valuable. That kind of pushed us over the edge to be able to get away from manual group management through the Google Admin Console and do it directly in JumpCloud. And some of the stuff we've done we have a couple of lab organizations that we use. So we've done some of this stuff as proof of concepts, and then so we could talk about it in some of those terms. But yeah, that's a pretty interesting one in terms of a full circle or a full 180 from Microsoft to Google.
Yeah. I kept meaning to ask you, because you've mentioned groups a couple of times, and obviously that's an important way to manage things. Have you all been using dynamic groups since it came out?
No, we have not. That's something that we actually put a solution together. We had the need before dynamic groups were available in JumpCloud, and I think we had literally finished the solution, and it was involving Azure Active Directory, and we were all proud of it. And then a couple of weeks later, that capability was available in JumpCloud, and man, we could have done this a lot easier if we had been able to use this. But yeah, that has not come back up since then.
Yeah, keep an eye on that because we did an initial release and we're adding more to that. So it might be that down the road it might come in handy for y'all.
Yeah, yeah, sounds like it.
So one last question was around some of these processes you've put in place with JumpCloud. Do you all ever put any numbers to that around, oh, we save this amount of time for onboarding or user management or cost savings or even deploying new devices and things like that? Do you ever look at things that way for your clients?
We try to. I don't think we have enough, let's call it stable data, to really have meaningful comparative numbers. Internally, our time to support and our time to response, time to triage, those numbers we've seen steadily go down. And I think half the battle is just noticing them in the first place. But the ability to triage systems through the directory insights, through the system insights portal, to have that information, and it's not 3 hours behind. It's pretty much real-time information that we can get from there. I know that has improved our internal metrics for sure. And that's, again, we notice those numbers. We pay a lot of attention to those. It's not an easy one to fudge around for sure.
Yeah, the old Peter Drucker saying what gets measured gets managed.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm glad to hear that those are helping you manage things like that because I think that's important. When you can see into those numbers, then you can look at how are we doing and how can we make improvements and where do we go next. Have any of your clients actually asked for stuff like that, or is that just more of a proactive thing that you're trying to do for them?
That's just coming from us trying to maintain the edge and not be complacent in terms of our performance and what we're trying to do here. Trying to remember why we got into this in the first place. That certainly wasn't just to sling licenses. That performance part is important, very important to me.
Great. And by the way, how big is your company? Like how many employees in general? Like
We're,
if it's something
we're
you don't like
small.
to share.
No, we're small. There's 10 of us, plus or minus. We have both college and high school internship programs throughout the year. At one point, I think last summer we had 16. We were nearly outnumbered in terms of our sort of the core crew and then the students that were here. But one thing I'll say about that is every student that comes through here, one of the first thing they do is they get JumpCloud certified. They also go through some of our other internal training, but JumpCloud is really at the forefront of that. We're quietly doing what we can to build up the world of JumpCloud professionals out there. And we're a pretty flat organization. So we try to have that spirit of learning and keeping up with things as a part of what we do for everyone. So I think that's one of the reasons why we love JumpCloud so much is that your organization is always improving, always seems to be expanding in new ways that kind of fits with our vibe as well.
Are you all on-prem or are you hybrid?
We are all on-prem, actually, so to speak, and that's part of that is because of the training and internship programs that I mentioned. There's a lot of that it just simply wouldn't work if we were remote.
Thank you, Dustin, for your time. I really appreciate it. And thanks for being a partner and being great about working with JumpCloud and being so positive. I really love to hear those. I run all the community stuff, and so I work a lot we have a lot of MSPs and customers and even non-customers in the IT hour and the Slack lounge and the community, and it's always fun to hear the different perspectives. So thanks a bunch.
You're welcome. Talk to you soon.